Hello everyone, I'm Chris, and welcome to my Star Wars The Force Unleashed achievement guide. In this series, I'll be going over how to get every single achievement in, you guessed it, Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I will be playing on an Xbox Series S, but the game is available on Xbox 360 and PS3, as well as any console with backwards compatibility. I do want to preface that although this is a guide, I won't be going over every single mechanic in the game in detail. In this first episode, I will be mentioning some basic controls and settings, but if you haven't played the game before, or you feel that you need more info, go ahead and do your own run of the game on the easiest difficulty, Apprentice, since you'll need to go through 2 playthroughs of the game anyway. Before we start, let's talk about some of the achievements. As I just said, you will need to go through at least 2 playthroughs of the game, as well as 1 playthrough of the Tatooine DLC, and 4 playthroughs of the Jedi Temple DLC. Before we talk about the DLCs though, let's talk some base game achievements. There are a few I want to go over, including the 4 difficulty achievements tied to the 4 difficulties of the game: Apprentice, Sith Warrior, Sith Lord, and Sith Master. These 4 achievements are stackable, however the hardest difficulty, Sith Master, is locked until you've completed at least 1 playthrough of the game. Or you can just put in a cheat code to unlock it. Now you might be thinking, oh, I can just do 1 playthrough then if I entered the cheat code. And then I'd say you're wrong, because there are 2 endings, light and dark, with an achievement for each and no way to revert back to previous saves. So you're stuck doing 2 playthroughs, sorry about that. Now let's talk about some of the Force abilities. There are 14 achievements tied to the different abilities and combos in the game. The first 12 I want to go over are tied to Force Push, Force Lightning, Force Grip, Force Repulse, Lightning Shield, and Lightsaber Throw. Each of these require you to get 500 kills, unlocking an achievement at 100 kills and of course 500 kills. Luckily, all of these except for the lightning-based abilities can be farmed pretty early on. The last 2 achievements are tied to grapple moves and aerial ambush juggle combos, each of which require you to get 100 kills. Both of these can be farmed pretty early on, but you'll have an easier time farming the juggle combos on Apprentice difficulty. Next, let's talk about some cumulative and collectible achievements. We'll start with 2 easy ones. Cannon Fodder and Rebel Leader require you to kill 150 Stormtroopers and 500 Imperials respectively. You should get these by the end of the game, but if not, fortunately there's a spot to farm them really early on. Next, we have the bigger they are for killing 6 Rancors, and the harder they fall for killing 10 AT-STs or AT-KTs. These are pretty obvious, but are technically skippable or missable, so I'll point them out as we go. Proxy won't be happy, and Bully require you to kill 35 droids and 25 Jawas or Ugnaughts respectively, so be ready to slay innocent creatures and machines. Lastly, you'll need to collect all the holocrons in the game for the Holocron Collector achievement. There are 15 in each level, except for the 2 shorter levels which have 5 each, and the Prologue which doesn't have any. These are easy to miss, so make sure you pay attention to when I pick them up. If you don't know how many you have in a given level, you can see your mission objectives in the pause menu at any point during the game. Because it's an objective, you'll get a Force Power Sphere once you've collected the last one in a given level. So if you don't receive one, you know you missed a holocron or 2. Let's not forget to mention some DLC achievements. The Tatooine DLC has 5 achievements, none of which I feel need to be mentioned. The Jedi Temple DLC, however, is a different story. Jedi Temple has 7 achievements, 4 of which are tied to difficulty. Good news is that Jedi Temple isn't a long DLC at all, just a few minutes per run. Bad news is that the difficulty achievements don't stack, so you're stuck doing 4 runs of the DLC. Sucks. As usual, any achievements I didn't mention are pretty self-explanatory or are gained through story progression. That's about all I needed to talk about, so without further ado, let's get into the guide. Alright, as soon as you start the game up, you should end up in the prologue as Darth Vader. And we're just going to move forward here, pretty linear path in the prologue. We're going to kill some of these stormtroopers because we will need to kill 12 of them as Darth Vader before the end of the prologue. We can farm him here in a second, but might as well kill these 3 because they're here already. And then we're going to kill these Wookiees because we'll need 200 kills, which you should get easily. We can farm them later, but also so they're not shooting at you. You can hold B down to blow the gate down here. And then once it's blown up, we're going to farm some achievements here. The trio right there on the right is going to be a sort of marker for this. You can move forward and then some stormtroopers should spawn right next to the tree, and you're going to want to press Y to do a force choke, and then turn around and then turn back around, and there should be a bunch more. They should just keep endlessly respawning there as long as you're not looking at the spawn point. And we're going to do Force Choke because it's actually a grapple move, and we'll need 100 grapple kills by the end of the game. But you should get the worst Day Shift Manager achievement by the time you get 12 Stormtrooper kills. Next, you want to do this on Apprentice difficulty because they'll have less health, and so it'll make this a bit faster. You want to stand right next to the tree and just keep hitting jump and then hit the attack button, and you should do a sort of lightsaber slam. And if you stand in the right spot, they should just endlessly spawn. You can keep killing them over and over again. And that should get you the launched achievement once you get 100 kills using that. That's for the aerial ambush juggle combos. So yeah, that's a pretty easy spot to get that. Now you'll see I'm jumping around as Darth Vader a lot, and that's just because he walks super slow, and jumping is just a little bit faster. So you don't have to jump around, it's just I felt like it because I wanted to get through this. But keep doing these grapple moves, keep pressing Y to force choke people, just because the animation takes so long. You can see here that this guy's wailing on me while I'm choking his friend out right behind him. So you want to kind of get this one out of the way while there's not many enemies right in front of you to damage you, because we will need 100 of these by the end of the prologue. But yeah, that's about it for right now. I'll get back with you guys once there's something of note to talk about. At this point, a TIE fighter will crash into the bridge that we just passed on the right. So just come over to this bridge, and here is actually where we're going to farm most of the force ability achievements. Really, you just want to stick to this bridge that we're on, the hut to the left, and the bridge ahead of us. And don't go into the hut that you see in the distance there, because it will checkpoint you, stop spawning all the Wookiees, and you'll have no way to come back to before that. So just don't go in there. We'll farm all the abilities here. If you do go over there, you will have to start the prologue over and start farming all over again. Yeah, we're just going to do the grapples here. Again, those are the most annoying ones, so go ahead and start with doing those. Just stand at the end here and let them all come to you. And now here is where I actually unlocked the Grappled achievement and the Frenzy achievements. So there's 3 Frenzy achievements: Frenzy, Sith Frenzy, and Sith Lord Frenzy. And to get them, all you gotta do is kill a certain amount of enemies in a row in quick succession. For Frenzy it's 4, for Sith Frenzy it's 8, for Sith Lord Frenzy it's 12. So you should be able to get those while you're farming here. Next you want to do Force Push, and for Force Push, all you gotta do is sit around right here on the bridge and keep charging up Force Push to kind of make the bridge shake, knock them off, push them off the bridge, stuff like that. But once you do that, you want to move on to Lightsaber Throw, and you just want to let them come to you. Keep throwing your lightsaber at people in the distance. You can lock onto them, and it'll also kill some of them on its way back to you. That one's pretty easy as well. Next one is Force Repulse, and this one's a little annoying. Really, you just want to kind of move back and forth between the 2 bridges here, so that they kind of surround you, so that you can kind of repulse them away from you all at once. Next, you can move up to here. This is the hut that you actually don't want to enter. We're going to do Force Grip here, though, this close, just because you can almost grab them as they spawn and throw them at each other as they're spawning. So that one's pretty easy as well. If you end up getting low on enemies like I do here, you can save the game, exit the game, and then continue game. And as soon as you log back in, or log in, as soon as you load back in, you'll end up back here. This is where we came up the elevator. Just turn around and continue on, and then you can continue farming Wookiees. Now I'm just going to leave you guys with the boss fight. There's not really anything to talk about in terms of the boss fight. It's super easy. You can't lose at all. Even if your health gets drained all the way to 0, you don't lose. Nothing happens whatsoever unless you kill the Jedi. So I'm just going to leave you guys with this boss fight. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure you tune into the next one. See ya.